Hey everyone. So today I was wanting to talk specifically to the people who are or have actually lost their children to CPS, and there doesn't appear to be any chances of reunification, like in my case, or at least not legal reunification. Um, the other day somebody said something to me about, well, they'll be 18 one day, and you know, that doesn't really bring much comfort to me, because it's like, yes, I'm really looking forward to trying to undo all of the trauma and programming that they've been put through for however many years it'll be by then, instead of them having the loving programming that they would get at home, because pretty much that's what children, that's what you do with children. They're programmed one way or another, and, I would have rather have gotten to raise them myself and passed on my own beliefs and help them, give them my knowledge that I have about things that they're not going to have because of the environment they're going to be raised in. And on top of that, that environment being toxic, in my opinion. So, for those of you like me who have lost your children or a child, and this message is for you. What I want to talk about is loss and pain creating purpose. And another thing too is, if you're not open-minded in any way, especially to spiritual things, then this video is also probably not for you. But if you are open-minded and you want to have some kind of peace or hope in yourself, then continue watching. Like I said, I was going to post more positive videos on here, and this video might be hard for some of you to hear, but it is a more positive message. For one, if, like myself, you have completely lost the chance to raise your children, then on some level, I believe, because I like to take personal responsibility for everything, even things that might be considered to be out of my control, at least in the physical sense. So things like that, where it was something that you clearly had no control over, as far as there was nothing that you could do to prevent it. In situations like that, there is a belief, which I personally agree with this belief, that it was something that you agreed to before you came here, as something that would be a part of your journey and something you would experience and grow from. And so I personally believe that was the case for me. I believe that's the case for me, not just with my children, but with many other things in my life. Like, I was hit by a car when I was 17, and that altered my life in a very, very drastic way. Like, it ended my career in the military and set me on a totally different path. Like, my goal when I was 17, 18 was to go through college, and get a medical degree, become a psychiatrist, or at least a clinical psychologist. And that was my dream. I dreamed of being a career woman. I dreamed of that. I didn't dream about getting married and having a family, or at least that wasn't my main focus. It was something I planned on doing one day, but I wanted to have a career first. And because of that accident, and not having the military benefits and my age, I was not going to be able to go to college. And I ended up being put on disability after that, which kind of put me in a dark place, which led to me meeting my children's father, which when I met him, I immediately knew he was going to be my children's father. And so that path actually led to me having my children, and I don't really think there was much after that I could have done to have altered what ended up happening with my children. In any case, I can't go back now, and so it's my personal belief that I, at a higher level, had chose for that to happen. It was agreed upon with me and, you know, a higher source, God, the universe, and probably my children, you know, because people like that in your life are normally people that you knew before you came to this earth. Again, this is getting really spiritual, but part of this you could take even if you're not spiritual, which is that in any case, part of me healing from that was, which every day I'm still having to heal, and hopefully eventually one day I will be reunited with my children, no matter how old they are or how old I am, and hopefully we will be able to heal together. In any case, I know for me, something that really helped me, like this channel, which I went to a dark phase for a while because I felt like I couldn't continue to do this channel because I hadn't won my fight with CPS. But actually losing my children put me on a different path than what I was on, and now I'm in school full time, and it's not that I couldn't have done that if I was with them, but there's been a lot of experiences that I have had since then that I know I have grown and developed a lot as a person. And this isn't about discrediting your loss, but it's more so about reframing your past in a positive way. Reframing those negative things in a positive way. Which really, that in and of itself makes all of the difference. Because if you choose to focus on the loss and the negative, then you are going to be stuck in a place of not just stagnation, but that pain, you know, and nothing good will come from that, you know. You are actually doing yourself and your children a discredit by remaining stuck in that pain and letting that pain define you instead of you defining your pain. And so for me, this channel, like I've said it before, I'm turning that pain into purpose, and losing my children made me realize through my research all the things that's wrong in the federal courts, as far as disability, with disabled parents and disabled children even, and in the family courts and in the Child Protective Services program, or whatever it's called in your state. And otherwise, like I said in some of my other videos, if I would have had my children, I probably would have been like, okay, I got them, they're with me, they're safe, we're safe now from them. Let's not go, you know, try to open up that can of worms and poke that tiger, you know. Let's just leave them there and go about our lives and try to put that behind us. Whereas now it's like, I mean, I don't want to say that I can't just put that behind me, but it has motivated me to do something. And maybe that's the case for you, where maybe you were meant for that to happen to you, and this is where, spiritual or not spiritual, you can apply this to your life, where, you know, whether it be you chose for this to happen on a higher level because you are going to be a part of a major movement that changes our country forever, that changes the laws forever, hopefully forever anyway, and to stand up and fight for our children and our families. So that's something to think about, is you are not doing yourself or your children any kind of service by holding on to the loss. It is no different than if your child had died. You hear this advice all the time for parents who had a child pass away, and they are stuck. And a lot of times they'll have other children and they can't even give the love that child needs because they're too busy grieving a brother or a sister. And that's actually part of the reason why I want to wait to have any more children myself, because I don't feel like I am fully out of that yet. And also too, there's just so many things I want to accomplish that I feel like having another child right now would be a disservice to that significant event of losing my children, where I want to do things that I can't do if I have a child now, now that I haven't been given that choice. So that's something to think about, is what can you do? How can you turn your pain into purpose? How can you take that pain and let it become something that you're passionate about? There's artists who, they draw a lot of that energy for their creativity from their pain, from that shadow side, you know, from the parts that, you know, a lot of times we're not allowed to show the world or share with the world, or would be judged for, as most of us parents are judged whenever they find out that CPS took your child. And like there was another woman, I don't remember her name. I heard it on the radio a couple weeks ago, but for the life of me I can't remember her name. But she had 2 children, and there was something going on. She had a new child, I think, a baby. And she had, I don't remember exactly, but there were changes that happened in her schedule, and she thought she had dropped off both her children at daycare. There were 2 different daycares, one for the older one for the baby. And her child ended up dying in the car because in her mind she knew she had dropped the child off and it didn't happen. And as tragic and terrible as that sounds, and I don't want anyone judging her for what happened, because I wouldn't want any of us to be judged for mistakes that we've made. Everyone has made mistakes that could have led to something just like that, no matter how perfect you think you are. But, so what she has done, and you could tell this woman is still to this day haunted by that happening, and she still says she has no other memory except that she did drop her child off, and that isn't what happened. That's just how the brain works sometimes with routines. You can think that you did something because you thought you did it, and your brain will actually create the memory of you doing it. But the point is she's using that tragic event she's using that to create awareness for other people so that this doesn't happen to anyone else. And that is what I'm saying that we should do. Those of us who have already lost the fight, we should not let that stop us from fighting for a cause. You now have a cause. If you have lost your children, no matter what the situation is, if you have been done wrong as a parent and have had the right to parent your child or be in your child's life taken away from you, then you now have the choice to fight for a cause to prevent this from happening to anyone else and to change our laws. And if they have taken your children, there's really nothing else they can do to you. And that's where I'm coming from. It's like, you know, before, if I would have gotten my kids back, I wouldn't have felt like I could stand up to them after that, because I would felt like that put me under the radar for them to take my children again. So they can't do that now. And I'm going to keep fighting, because I believe in allowing that pain to be used for a purpose. Like, this really has led me to my life's purpose. And a lot of times it is the darkness in our life and the tragedy in our life that actually leads us to the light and to our greatest accomplishments. And I want that for each and every one of you. I know a lot of you are really hurting, and you have been for a long time. Some of you, it has been, 20 plus years even. And what I am saying is, you don't have to hold on to that anymore. Another thing that is really empowering is you don't have to be a victim anymore. And for us to take responsibility, and I don't mean it in the sense of that you actually did your child wrong and don't deserve your children. I don't mean it like that. But just know that on some level that we did agree for this to happen to us. That we chose to go through this for a reason. And that reason may be so that you can advocate for a better future for our children and for the rest of society, so that the laws are changed so no one else has to go through this. Or at least we can, in the very least, make them have to be stricter on what they do, because it is supposed to only be extreme cases, and they are taking children for literally nothing and are allowed to act like it's an extreme case when it's not. And we need to do something about this. We need to come together and band together against this. We really need each other. We need to come out of the darkness and into the light and stand against this. So all of you who maybe have been too afraid to come out, and it's a part of your past that you just want to forget about, if you are seeing this, then this is your call to rising. It is time for you to answer that call and to not let that pain be meaningless, to not let that loss be meaningless, and to instead allow it to transform you and give meaning to your life. Anyway, so the point is that a lot of us had this happen to us early on, and I get that back then it was more shameful, but nowadays this is becoming an epidemic. There are so many of us that this is happening to, and it's just becoming normalized, where it's just a normal expectation in society now. And that's how you sneak evil in. You for one, it was the CPS program, I will say, was a good idea. It was probably from the best of intentions, to protect children, because, many people in the past were abused as children and nothing was done for them. And But that's what they have done. They've used a good cause to do evil things. And they start small, on a small level, and it's grown more and more over time. And the thing is they're still not helping abused children. There are still children who are abused that are not being helped by CPS. They're being left in those situations or put back in those situations, or worse, put into a foster home and then dying. And there's no voice for those children, especially because as parents we have been told that we do not have a voice once CPS takes our child. And it is becoming an epidemic, like I said. So for all of us of all generations, no matter where we are or where we were when this started, we need to come together. We need to come out of the dark and into the light so that we can bring this to the light. Everything that is brought into the light becomes light. And we need to bring this out together. The more of us that we have together, the better our chances are that we can change the future. And that is what this video is about. It is calling you to take a stand to change our future, the future of society, the future of our children and our grandchildren. Whether we ever get to see or know about them or not doesn't matter. The point is this is the start of something big, and you can be a part of it right now. I don't know exactly how we can change this, but I'm learning more and more, and I'm getting more people together, and I'm telling you, the more people that we have together speaking out against this and coming together, the better our chances are that we can get the laws changed so that CPS has to answer for what they have done, and we have to have stricter laws on what allows them to take children. We have to. We have to protect our children. We have to protect our families. We have to protect parents. And we have to protect the disabled, the people who cannot defend themselves. So, anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this message. I'm sorry, I'm having to use my phone because my camera died. I hope that you enjoyed this message. I hope you got something out of it. And I hope that it has brought peace for you in the very least. And I also hope to hear from you guys and that you will stand with me to create a better future for America. Thank you.